Today I am rehearsing for a TV show, just doing like a sub thing for some friends of mine, the Regiment Horns. Great group of guys, great horn section. They play with lots of great artists, including Justin Timberlake, and we're doing something for a TV show, which I can't really say and I probably can't film, but I have no idea what I'm showing up for. But that's the fun part. Stand. Cutting it a little close.
To Burbank Boulevard.
I would have to. KCRW's Best of 2016.
Two really interesting emails came in today. One is from a member of my online studio, a guy named John who lives in Australia. He saw this truck on the highway, took a picture for me. Look at that. Bob Reynolds Plumbing and Gas Fitting. I don't even know what gas fitting is, but it sounds pretty awesome. And the other one comes from Jonathan. It's Jonathan and his band playing Blues for Charlie, which is a song of mine from the Guitar Band album. Check this out. Very, very fun for me to see this happening. Thanks for sharing that, Jonathan. It drives me crazy when I find something, some little thing, and I know it goes to something I will need or something important, but I have no idea what that thing is. Like this, what is this little, I don't know where, it looks like it's broken, but today is December 31st, 2016, and like me, you're probably thinking about the year past and the year ahead. You might even be setting some New Year's resolutions. I'll tell you what's on my mind right now, and that is time, specifically the hours in the day, and time in a bigger sense, like not just days and weeks and months, but what's ahead for the next year. I'm trying to get better at long-term planning. Not too long, because I think that's ridiculous to say, to try to plan 5 years out. But I do think it is legitimate to look at the next 12 months and I'm actually making a little calendar for myself with each month and kind of what are the major events going on in those months, just to try to wrap my head around it. See, this month has been interesting for me. If you're somebody who's been following my vlog, you'll notice I haven't put up an episode in quite some time, and there's a reason for that. For about half of the month of December, I had my 2 young kids all to myself. My wife was out of town on business, and I was charged with keeping them alive. Now, having a couple young kids is challenging enough with a partner. It's hard, as any musician who has kids who will know, it's difficult to find practice time and, well, all the time you need for all the things you want to do and make the kids your priority, which is absolutely what I want to do. But add to that single parenting and it's a whole new level. For half of that time, my daughter was still in school and I was packing lunches, and then there's 3 meals a day and taking her to school and picking her up from school, and then the little guy too, and all this stuff, and by the end of the day, I was just done. On top of that, my son got sick. He got a fever. I caught all that, his cold, his fever, whatever. We both had a runny nose for 2.5 weeks, straight through Christmas. It was intense. It's 5 o'clock, 5:05. Time to start dinner for the kids. I am exhausted. This part between 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. every night with the 2 kids and a cold. It's just sheer exhaustion. Let me just say that I have a newfound respect for all the single parents of the world. As one who was raised by a single mom, I don't know how you did it, Mom. But back to this idea of time. I stumbled on a great quote the other day. Look, it's no secret that we all get the same 24 hours in the day, and that's something I think about from time to time. It's a very meritocracy, egalitarian, that's a new word that I made up. Nobody gets more time than anybody else. Here's a quote that I came across from a English writer named Arnold Bennett. The quote goes like this: "Talk about an ideal democracy. In the realm of time, there is no aristocracy of wealth and no aristocracy of intellect. Genius is never rewarded by even an extra hour a day, and there is no punishment. Waste your infinitely precious commodity as much as you will, and the supply will never be withheld from you. Moreover, you cannot draw on the future, so it's impossible to get into debt. You can only waste the passing moment. You cannot waste tomorrow. It is kept for you. You cannot waste the next hour. It is kept for you." That's pretty cool when you think about it. The challenging part is, what are you gonna do with the hours you have in the day? So for me, as I was thinking about it this month, managing time and energy levels and the things that I wanna do, the things that I have to do, and the things that I have said yes to that I probably shouldn't have said yes to, that's a big one for me. I'm working on that. Next year, I just find myself thinking about what are the important things that I want to accomplish in the next year. The fact of the matter is, we all tend to overestimate what we can accomplish in a day and underestimate what we can accomplish in a year. When I look at my day, I feel like I didn't do anything. I mean, I didn't really accomplish anything. I didn't move the ball forward at all. But when I zoom out and look at the year, it's actually like, not bad, not bad. I'm never gonna be satisfied, but not bad. So I'd like to leave you with a final thought, which is this: time. We all get the same amount of it. So what are you gonna do with your time in the next year? So many of my students say the same thing, which is, I don't have the time to practice. I can't find the time to practice. Let me tell you something. You've already got the time. You've got the same amount as Chris Potter, the same amount as John Coltrane, the same amount as Miles Davis, the same amount as Cannonball Adderley, the same amount as Charlie Parker got, and you're never gonna find time. You have to make time for things that are important to you. So that's what I'm thinking about as we roll into 2017. What things am I gonna make time for, and how am I gonna prioritize those things, i.e. how much time am I gonna make for X, Y, and Z? Speaking of which, I need to practice. But my office is such a mess. I really need to clean my office too. This has been sort of an ongoing problem for me for the last couple weeks. One of the hardest things for me to do is to practice when I'm sitting among a mess, both physically, look at all this crap, and this, and that, and mentally when I have piles of physical stuff to deal with, and then there's like emails and everything else and mental clutter. There's a lot of things on the to-do list, and yet I only have it's holiday time. It's a couple days after Christmas. My family's still here, and I haven't practiced in days because, you know, Christmas and whatnot. What I need to do is spend this hour right now, the little tiny window, I need to practice. That's what I need to do. But when I'm sitting in all this clutter, it's really hard for me to do that. But when I don't do it, I know the result. Then I might take care of like a little bit of this. I might file this receipt. I might figure out what the heck this is for. But I won't have practiced, and then I'll really not be happy with myself, even more so by the end of today, and it just snowballs. So practicing doesn't do anything for me directly like today. Whereas answering an email or sending an email or filing this stuff or any number of like physical things, if you do it, then it's done, it's accomplished, it's like a good feeling. Practicing though is just so that I'm not worse tomorrow than I am today, to some extent. At least that's what it feels like. Anyway, I'm gonna shut up and practice now.